Why is nobody talking about the movies where family becomes the most dangerous word in the room? Today, we're counting down 5 stories where the line between love and family gets crossed so hard, you want to pause and process what you just heard. I'm not exaggerating when I say some of these plots left me speechless. Welcome back to Watch List, the channel that brings you every hidden gem, every movie you didn't know you needed to watch. If you're new here, this is your sign to hit subscribe, because we drop recaps like this every single week, and you do not want to miss the next one. 5 movies ranked from unsettling to absolutely unforgettable. Let's get into it.
Number 4 shows us how a mother tries to save her son and ends up losing herself completely. Goliath 96 tells the story of Kristen, a single mother whose grown son has locked himself in his bedroom for 2 straight years. No conversation, no eye contact, just silence through a closed door in the apartment they still share. She quits her job. She unravels the routine of her entire life just trying to reach him. Then she finds out he's active on internet forums under a username, and she makes a decision that changes everything. She creates a fake identity and starts talking to her own son without him knowing who she really is. What starts as a desperate attempt to reconnect turns into something the audience watches with growing dread, because these two people are forming an intimacy neither of them can see clearly, hidden behind a screen, built on a lie neither of them can undo. The tension is suffocating, and by the time the truth threatens to surface, you're gripping your seat, waiting for the collision. This film earns every uncomfortable second. I'm not going to tell you how far she goes or what happens when the mask finally slips.
You're not allowed to watch number 3 alone, because you are going to need someone to process it with. Honeymoon Crasher follows Lucas, a man who gets left standing at the altar when his fiancée runs off with her ex. Instead of losing the trip he already paid for, he does the unthinkable. He brings his mother on his honeymoon instead. To keep the resort villa, the two of them have to pretend, in front of staff, in front of strangers, in front of everyone, that they are a married couple. Husband and wife. Not mother and son. What starts as an absurd, almost comedic setup slowly turns into something far stranger, because the closer they play the part, the more the boundaries between performance and reality start to blur. Every glance and moment they have to sell the lie pulls them into territory neither of them expected to feel real. Audiences everywhere have called this the movie that quote-unquote gave Oedipus his complex, and once you watch it, you'll understand exactly why. This one is somehow both hilarious and deeply uncomfortable at the same time.
Why is nobody talking about the moment a reunion turns into something no one saw coming? Taboo 3, The Unforgettable Act, follows Devin, a man who spent his entire life without knowing his birth mother. She's a soap opera star named Rebecca, someone he only ever saw on a screen, someone he built up in his imagination for years. When they finally meet as adults, it's supposed to be closure. It's supposed to be healing. Instead, it becomes something neither of them are prepared for. The emotional connection they build crosses a line that neither one of them saw approaching. And by the time they realize what's happening between them, it's already too late to pretend it isn't real. This film doesn't hide behind subtlety. It leans directly into the discomfort, forcing you to sit with the question of what happens when blood and desire collide in the same relationship. It currently holds a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb, higher rated than most films in the genre, because audiences can't stop talking about how far it's willing to go. I'm not going to tell you how their story ends or whether either of them finds a way back from what they've done. Number 1 is the highest rated film on this entire list, and it might be the most controversial. Here's how 2 best friends destroyed everything they built, one summer at a time. Adore follows Lil and Roz, lifelong best friends living next door to each other in a quiet beachside town, raising sons who grew up as close as brothers. Naomi Watts and Robin Wright lead this story, and what unfolds between these 2 families will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about loyalty. One summer, everything changes. Both women find themselves falling for the other's son, crossing a boundary that threatens to unravel 2 families, 2 friendships, and everything they spent decades building together. It's not a fling, it's not a mistake they can walk away from. It becomes years of secrecy, years of guilt, years of a bond neither of them can bring themselves to end, even as it costs them everything around them. This is the highest rated film on today's list, sitting at a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and it's easy to see why audiences still argue about this movie over a decade after it released. Some call it a tragedy, some call it a warning. I call it one of the most uncomfortable, unforgettable stories about desire and consequence ever put on screen. I won't tell you which family survives this. You need to watch it to believe it. And that wraps up today's list. If any of these left your jaw on the floor, drop a comment telling me which one shocked you the most. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next countdown, and I'll see you in the next video.